The hospital's dimly lit corridors were always a reminder of the cold, unforgiving world of medicine. The fluorescent lights above hummed in a monotonous drone, casting long shadows across the walls like skeletal fingers reaching out to snatch the living. The air was heavy with the scent of disinfectant and decay, a perpetual reminder that life and death walked hand in hand in this place. As I made my way to the ICU, the soft beeps of the monitors and the gentle hiss of oxygen tanks created a soothing melody, a reassuring sound that all was well. But my mind was elsewhere, consumed by the puzzle of a string of unexplained patient deaths. 5 in the past week alone, all seemingly healthy before their sudden and inexplicable collapse. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. The ICU's glass doors slid open with a soft whoosh, revealing a room filled with the quiet murmur of machinery and the gentle rustle of sheets. I made my way to the first patient's bed, my eyes scanning the monitors for any sign of life. But as I reached out to take her pulse, my hand hesitated, my mind screaming a warning that something was terribly wrong. The patient's chart read, stable, but as I gazed into her vacant eyes, I felt a shiver run down my spine. Her skin was cold, her limbs rigid, and her chest unmoving. I frantically checked the monitors, but the ECG showed a flatline. Confused and disbelieving, I called for the nurse to come and verify my findings. The nurse's expression was one of confusion and concern as she took the patient's pulse and checked the monitors. But to my horror, she nodded in agreement, her voice barely above a whisper. "She's been like this for hours, doctor. We thought she was in a coma, but I don't know, it's just not adding up." I felt a growing sense of unease as I moved from patient to patient, each one displaying the same eerie signs of death. The monitors lied, the nurses were confused, and I was trapped in a waking nightmare. The beeps and hisses of the machines seemed to take on a sinister tone, as if they were trying to warn me of something. I couldn't shake the feeling that I was missing something, that there was a hidden pattern to these deaths. I pored over the charts, searching for any connection, any thread that could unravel the mystery. But the more I looked, the more I became convinced that something was being deliberately hidden. As I stood at the nurse's station, trying to make sense of it all, I noticed something that made my blood run cold. A log entry from one of the nurses, cryptically noting that a patient had checked out several hours before their official time of death. The implication was clear, these patients were not dying, they were being taken. I felt a cold sweat break out on my forehead as I realized the implications. Someone was hiding something, and it wasn't just a medical error or a simple mistake. This was a deliberate act of murder, one that had been hidden in plain sight. I knew I had to act fast, to get to the bottom of this before more lives were lost. But as I turned to leave, I caught a glimpse of myself in a reflection. My eyes were sunken, my skin pale, and my face twisted in a mixture of fear and determination. I was no longer just a doctor, I was a detective, and I was on the hunt for a killer. I stormed down to the hospital's security office, demanding to see the footage from the past week. The officer's eyes widened as he handed me the tapes, his voice barely above a whisper. "Be careful, doctor. We've had, some reports of, things moving in the shadows." I hit play, my eyes fixed on the grainy footage as it began to roll. But as I watched, I saw something that made my blood run cold. Patients, motionless and still, yet somehow, breathing. Their chests rose and fell, their eyes flickered with a faint spark of life. I stumbled backward, my mind reeling in horror. And then, the unthinkable happened. The camera panned out, revealing the entire ICU, filled with row upon row of patients, all of them, alive. But not just alive, they were all, me.